Those of you who don't know, I was off at Zenith Strand this weekend, Underworld Zenith Strand in Saskatoon. It was a 5-hour drive to get there. It's pretty long, but totally worth it. Totally worth it. So I'm gonna sort of skip ahead in time and tell you one of my favorites from the weekend and the one that I like teased. You know what I mean? And it's a story that spans the entire weekend as I like did stupid things because Tawney is not a smart character. She is sort of dopey. She's sort of dopey and she's sort of very cheerful and happy and relentlessly positive and just like this very naive character. Like, she doesn't get sexual innuendos. She doesn't understand any of that stuff. Like, she's very naive. You know, she's 400 years old, but she spent like 300 of it by herself. So she's developed her very own sense of everything, and most of it is her doing things that could be considered dangerous without any forethought. So believes in the good in everybody, basically. Let's put it that way. And loves naps. I said over the course of the weekend, I think I said my mantra a couple of times, my Tawney mantra, and that's, there are two great things in life. The two best things. Do you want to know what they are? Naps and snacks. That was the Tawney mantra. Do you have any idea how many naps you're getting in 300 years? Like, so many. And Tawney believes she's immortal because she's never seen a Woodfey die of old age. So she just like, I have forever, I'll sleep forever. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. I'm getting sidetracked. So, we sat down on this island because we're all like on a big boat between games, and we sat down on this island and took shelter in this random house, and it turns out the house is like haunted, right? And there's like ghosts and like a witch who like runs the place, but who's gonna let us stay there if we do certain things for her, you know? Which is cool, you know. We don't mind doing that, really. As long as she doesn't kill anybody or hurt anybody, we can be amenable, you know. And it turns out the house is haunted, so there's spirits like walking around and doing stuff and messing with things. And so we slept the night to Saturday morning, being disturbed by spirits and so forth. That's another story. I'll tell that one later. And the house had like a way of like forcing us outside, basically. To like defend it, to like fight against things that are coming to attack or whatever. There's like a way that it could force us outside. But it didn't actually like push us or anything. What it would do is it would drip this like black goop, like this infliction damage black goop from the ceiling. It would drop down and be like 1 infliction, you know, as it like hits the ground. An infliction is really bad. It's like healing for undead. So it does twice as much damage as it's called, as it hits you. So if 1 infliction hits you, it does 2 damage. Tawney, 4 HP. Okay? So if I get hit twice, done. She's bleeding out. Infliction is bad. It hurts. So there's these drops of like infliction black goo falling from the ceiling. And this is represented, of course, by a shaper, Bryce, standing there with a white headband on, like dropping spell packets. You just like drop them, you know, like from a height, or like throw them a little across the room, like that kind of stuff. And he's just throwing them and going 1 infliction. And I go to him and I pick up a cup from the side of the like where the dishes are. And I pick up a cup. I check it's dry and like clean and everything. And then I start trying to catch these spell packets that he's throwing, the infliction goop, in the cup. So he'd throw it, and I'd be like, I got it, don't worry, I got it. Catch, you know, like with the cup. And everybody's like, Tawney, what are you doing? Get out of the house. You're gonna get hurt. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I've never seen this stuff before. I totally want some. It'll be nice. You know? I like collecting stuff and then like trying to collect this black goo that's dripping from the ceiling in this cup. I'm getting hit a couple of times. I got hit once, and then I would like drink a potion, you know, and like go back to it and try and get it again. And you know, I asked out of character. I'm like, all right, Bryce, like, as I'm catching this stuff in the cup, is it staying in the cup? You know, like, is it there, or does it like dissipate or whatever? And he's like, yeah, no, it stays in the cup. It's totally good. It stays in the cup. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like catching a couple of these, and then I realize like I'm gonna get killed. Everybody else is outside, and I'm in here trying to catch black goo from the ceiling, and it's getting worse and worse. You know, it wants me to go outside. So I catch a whole bunch of it, and I bring the cup outside, and I put it down, and I take out one of my bottles. I have little glass bottles. I'll show you. Show you what I have for Tawney. This is Tawney's in-character bag. There's lots of stuff in it. There's a blanket in there. See? And lots and lots of stuff. So these are the potion bottles that I use. This one has some like seeds in it and stuff. It's not super great, but so I poured the black goo from the cup into a bottle. And so now I have this thing. I don't know if you can see because it's a little reflecty, but it is a vial of black goop. There's a tag. It's a vial of black goop. It's pretty cool, right? Like got an item for just like role playing a little bit. It's very nice. And so to start with, Bryce was like, oh, you don't have that much. There's like this much black goo in there. You know, like it's a little bit at the bottom. And when you look at it and you assess it with alchemy, it looks like it's sort of half alchemical, half magical. Because Tawney's an alchemist. She's fully like a herb gatherer and potion maker. Which is like a pretty fun role to play. I'm looking to see if there's anything else I want to show you guys in here. Money. Writs of sale. And of course I have some coins and so forth, but it's not super important. All right, I'm gonna put this back. Cool. So I have this vial of black goo, and he's just like, there's a little bit in the bottom, and when you look at it, you can see that it sort of like moves on its own. And I was like, what, like a symbiote, like a Venom style like black symbiote thing? And he's like, yeah, like that. I'm like, cool. so it's like moving around in there and like, you know, tossing a bit and turning a bit. And I thought to myself like, oh, you know, it might be hungry. I'm gonna feed it some stuff. So like I'm opening the thing, and Bryce is still nearby. I'm opening the vial, and he goes, while you open it, it's trying to get out. The black stuff is trying to get out, like it's climbing the side of the bottle. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I unscrew it really quick. I put in some like alchemical stuff and close it. And I like watch it, and it eats it, and it grows bigger. Yeah. I'm like, oh boy, you know. So I have this black goo that I've just like made into my friend in this little bottle. It's my pet now. And so I leave it the whole day. There's other stuff happening, and Sunday morning rolls around, and I'm sitting like eating breakfast with everybody. I've got like my various kinds of breakfast. Like I've got these honey roasted peanuts, you know. Tawney's sort of like a nuts and pickles kind of person. And she eats lots of things from jars and bottles because that's how she makes it. I had like pickled hot peppers and like pickled little pickled gherkins and like pickled carrots. Like I had all kinds of pickled stuff. It's cool. But I'm sitting there eating breakfast and sharing with everybody, of course, because Tawney's a nice person. And people are talking, and I went, oh, have you seen my vial of black goop? And you know, whoever it was that I said this to like 4 or 5 different people, goes like, no, I don't think I have. And I go, oh, look, I'll show you. And I like dig through my bag, and pull out the little bottle I just showed you. I put it on the table, and they pick it up and they look at it and they go, oh, that's cool. You know, like they don't really care. And I take I take the vial back and I'm like, look, it tries to escape when I open it. It's really cool. Look. And I start unscrewing it, and almost unequivocally, like every person I did this to was like, Tawney, no, you know, and like tried to like put their hands over my hands or whatever, and tried to stop me from opening it, you know. And I would be like, oh, okay, and like put it back down, and I'd be like, you don't want to see it move? It moves, I swear. Like ting ting ting, like wake up, black goop. I know you move. I saw you move. You know, like tapping on the side of the jar. But then like breakfast finishes. I show a bunch of people the jar of black goo, and I think I wanted to worry some people. Like, I wanted it to become sort of like a plot point within the players that, like, Tawney had this, like, vial of black goo, and it was, like, thinking on its own. I don't think anybody really took it super seriously, but that's what I wanted. That's what I was trying to do. So, basically, I'm sitting eating breakfast, you know, as I was. And as breakfast's coming to an end, I'm like, oh, I should feed the black goo. And everybody's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it eats, look. And I like took a little tag of like 1 alchemy RM, which is like 1 resource of alchemy. It's like strider bits, you know, it's like pieces of like a little water strider or something. And I like ripped the tag up, because that's what happens when you destroy something. You rip the tag up and it's gone, you know. So rip the tag up and like put it in the bottle. And the black goo eats my alchemy bits, and it gets a little bit bigger, because that's what happened last time. I asked Bryce again, just to make sure. He was sort of around again. And gets a little bit bigger, and I went, see, it eats food. It moves and it eats food. See, I fed it. I fed the thing. Everybody's like looking at me like I'm crazy. They're looking at me super horrified. And then one of the guys, my friend Luke, who's playing this Ajanti called Elias, goes, Tawney, did you get this from in the house? And I went, yeah, from the ceiling. It was dripping from the ceiling. He goes, if it's alive, you know that if you take it from the house, that's kidnapping. You know? And I went like, what? He went, well, you're taking it away from where it lives. You're going to leave it? You know, you're going to take it away? And I went, I didn't mean it. I'm not a mean person. I'll let it out. I'll let it go. And I'm like unscrewing the lid to like tip it out onto the table. And he's like, that's not what I meant to say. You know, like trying to stop me. And he's like, what I actually meant was you're babysitting. Yes. Very good job. Keep it in the bottle. Do not pour it out, please. Keep it. It's fine. You're babysitting, not kidnapping. You know, of course. It's very nice, Tawney. It's very nice. Oh. Okay. Like put the vial back away in my bag. Tawney is just like this super nice, super positive, super like wants to be a good person all the time, like naive dork. So when she was told she was kidnapping, she was like, you know, like, no, I don't want to kidnap anything. But like all of this stemmed from me just role-playing catching some black goo. There was no plot for this. This item wasn't out. It wasn't expected to be in game. It wasn't expected to do anything. It was just me role-playing a bit and acquiring a tag for an item which I then used, even though it didn't have uses, if you know what I mean. Which was super cool. And yeah, Tawney is a fae. She's a wood fae. So she's very woodsy. And stuff. But yeah, so we had this vial of black goo, and at the end of the, well, not the end of the game, but I went down to plot camp to ask Bryce like what the black goo was doing after I fed it and stuff. And I showed him the vial, and I was like, I put like alchemical parts. I put like alchemical parts in here, and like I fed the black goo and stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, the black goo's really big. It fills up the whole jar. If you try and open it again, like since you looked at it last, like while it's in your bag, it's grown even bigger. If you try and open the jar, it's definitely gonna spill some out, and you'll probably splash yourself. You could close it again, and it would fill up the whole jar, and there'd be like splash on you. But it definitely fills the whole jar now. Like the whole jar is just solid black goo, you know. I was like, oh boy, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, right. And I went, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And so, going back into game, I went up to, I can't remember who it was, but I talked to somebody and I was like, I showed you the goo, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, it fills up the whole bottle now. I think it's probably a little cramped. So, you know what? When we get a chance and when I find some stuff that I can use, I'll make it a bigger bottle. And I'll put it in a bigger home. And then it'll get bigger, and then it'll have space to move around, and you can see it move, and it's cool. It's squelchy. I'm gonna name it Inky. You know, like stuff like that. Like Tawney getting really attached to this like horrible infliction goo puddle. You know, that she has acquired in a bottle. She's so dumb. She's so dumb. But yeah, so I've got to find a bigger bottle, and I think I have an idea. Look, I let me see if I can find the bottle that I want to use. I have one that I'm like it's been sort of sitting around. Oh wait, it's not over here. Shit, I don't know where it is, but if the regular bottle is like sort of this big. The one I want to use that I have is like this big. You know, it's like 5 of that bottle. It would totally be super awesome to put the black goo in a really big bottle, and hopefully it will become something worrying in the future. It would be fantastic if it like got out, or you got too big and broke whatever it was stored in, and then we had to deal with it. Like I just want to make it a plot point. Like, all on my own, through just, like, role-playing at it, I want to make it a plot point. Like, peanut butter jar sized. Yeah, exactly. Everybody was saying I should put, like, cornstarch, water, and like, black food coloring for, like, the slurpy, oozy slurp sort of look. Which would be cool. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do some sort of like prop work and try and figure it out.